Well, welcome everybody. Tonight's question is, have you accidentally traded peace for noise? This is a 4Q Boundaries YouTube live presentation, and we're going to be exploring a tool for meditation called your outer sanctuary. So when we're talking about trading peace for noise, sort of the example I have, especially if you're not a person that meditates, you might understand this. I notice people that actually meditate, they actually get this concept more than people that don't. But if you're a nature lover, you'll get this. If you're a person that seeks solitude or quiet spaces, you get this. And basically, what we're talking about tonight is the environment in which you live, you reside, you work, you actively engage. There are some times when we want an environment that is enthusiastic, explosive. I mean, if you're watching, let's say, a football game, being in an environment where the energy is high is very exciting. But if you're, let's say, reading a book or you're just needing some peace and quiet, having that noise isn't helping you. It's actually counterproductive. And that's what we're going to be exploring tonight. This not only concept, but also then using the tool, your outer sanctuary, to learn how to recognize the energy in the room, as well as how to clear it out so that way you get to set the room how you want versus external stimuli setting it for you. So my name's Michael Spackman. I am a craniosacral therapist, business owner, and creator of 4Q Boundaries. And our mission is helping people move from being an energetic sponge to an empowered observer. And tonight we're going to be, again, we sort of already mentioned this, is we're going to be learning about consciously shaping and transforming the energy of your external environment so that way you can create that space to be a haven of peace, clarity, and also a place for personal power. So focusing inwards. So this is our 9th week of doing live YouTube lives. And for the past 8 weeks, we've been building a foundation. And the foundation has really been an inwards journey. The first week, we actually learned about grounding, which is all about releasing foreign energy, releasing stimuli from within our personal space and specifically our body. Week 2, we started learning about reclaiming our energy and recognizing what our energy feels like. So you start to identify what your energy is versus somebody else's or something else. Week 3, we explored our, we explored our inner sanctuary, which is that place within your cranium itself, and having that space to be grounded so that way when you're operating in life and when you're exploring life, you have a place to know that this is your sanctuary within your body. Week 4, we were introduced to earth and cosmic energy, and using a neutral vibration of energy, of these two energies to help flow, help them move through your bodies, to help release stagnant energy and foreign energy that may be influencing you. Week 5, we continued the exploration of using these two energy flows, and we actually learned how to run this energy also through what we call your front channels, the front part of your body, as well as your arms. And also, we started learning more about the aura and having that aura grounded. And then in week 6, we really got into the aura and we learned about what it felt like to have a big aura versus a tight aura around our body. And then we also introduced a tool which we called the boundary bubble, which was really a great tool to explore, are you conscious of your space in a 360-degree way, Or is there unconsciousness within you that's causing you to lose awareness? And so this tool is teaching you how to sharpen that awareness so that way wherever there's unconsciousness, there's stuff that's impacting you and influencing you in a way that isn't beneficial to you. Week 7, we learned a tool which is creating and destroying bubbles. And this is really all about when you're using all these other tools that, each week for the last, those 6 weeks, if things still really feel stuck and things aren't moving, this tool is great to help sort of get rid of those blocks. We're also, in that week, we're also learning about recognizing our ability to create as well as destroy. And do we have judgments towards those? And then in week 8, we learned a tool which we call glass image. And that tool is all about neutrality. Can we allow the environment around us to not impact us? And how we do that is it's all about getting neutral within our own personal space so that way there's no buttons for people to push. Now, before we get into tonight's tool, I would like to discuss sort of our roadmap or our map. And within the 4Q boundaries framework, we recognize 4 different bodies within you. And these are things that everybody recognizes, but a lot of times we don't really think about it. We just sort of exist. First off, you have a physical body. And we all know what the physical body is. It's your earth suit. It's something that you live in, hopefully. And that's actually your physical form. But then we also recognize that you have an emotional body. And these are non-logical, that's your emotions, your feeling center, so to speak. You have a mental body. This is your thinking center, logic, analysis, things like that. And then your spiritual body. And I like to keep the spiritual body really simple. It's, are you present or are you not? Anytime you're daydreaming, or let's say you're watching television, or let's say you're using your cell phone and you're watching, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram feeds, whatever, and you're no longer experiencing your body or these other 2 layers, the emotional and mental bodies. If you lose awareness of these areas, you're somewhere else. And that is an experience of what it's like to use your spiritual body, which means you're not in the physical body anymore, you're somewhere else. And so the goal with these 4 bodies is, how can you be present in this moment in time so that way when you're engaged in life, you can be focused and you have your full attention on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Now, the other thing with these 4 bodies is they're interconnected. Your physical body is always in the present moment because guess what? It doesn't have a choice. It's the physical part of us that's sort of the foundation for everything else. But your emotional, your mental, and your spiritual body can be in other places. They can be lost in past memories, or they can be projected into the future, or they could be in some alternative universe, so to speak. But what happens is you realize because you have these 4 bodies, they're all interconnected and they require you to be physically present. So if there's something that impacts you on an emotional level, that impact, that stimulus may impact your mental body, may impact your spiritual body, as well as it could impact your physical body. And so again, what we're trying to learn through 4Q boundaries is recognizing this interconnectedness within us so that way you could release those stimuli, so that way you could be present as well as basically be in homeostasis, which we'll talk about in a few moments. So here's an example of what we're going to be talking about tonight, because again, tonight is really about ownership of your environment, ownership of the rooms that you're occupying or in. And so if you have an ungrounded room, And this could be a room that's, let's say, is filled with chaos. And it could feel heavy, lethargic. Well, guess what? The energy in the room can actually impact your physical body, your physical form. So when you go into a room, are you noticing how you're experiencing the room? How does your body sense the room that you're in? How does your emotions play within the room that you're in? What happens to your thoughts, your mental space, or what happens to yourself on a spiritual level? In an ungrounded environment, it impacts you on a negative level because it's ungrounded. It's creating chaos. Not only does the room feel ungrounded, is that it actually can start to unground you and then impact you on a lot of different layers. And this is the trap of getting used to ungrounded environments. It will actually change you. Because what happens is you become comfortable. Let's say you grow up in an environment that it never felt safe. You had a family members that were ungrounded, unpredictable, and so you as a child didn't feel safe in that environment. But guess what? You couldn't leave the environment, so you became used to feeling unsafe. And so your space said, okay, this is what life is supposed to be like. This is what's normal. And that's what I say, it's a false homeostasis. Your body will adjust to it to the best of its ability. And you may go, well, this is just the way it is. Well, it's the way it is because you're in an environment that you've adapted to, not realizing that it's actually a dysfunctional environment. And because you adapted to this environment, you normalized the stressors within you. So that constant fight or flight of paying attention to, it's like, okay, is this a safe environment for me? Okay, what's going to happen when I enter the next room and one of my parents is having a meltdown? How do I adapt to this environment? And what happens is, over time, you create patterns that really shape your personality. And it can shape you on a physical level. Maybe you hide. Maybe you don't want to be seen because you don't want to get hurt. So you're always in this hiding mode. Maybe you suppress your emotions, or maybe your emotions become larger than life because you're overcoming that energy that's within the household. Maybe your thoughts get scattered, or maybe you become really finely focused, or in a way that is trying to overcome the chaos that you're experiencing. Or maybe you're checking out all the time. Or maybe you just completely check out and you leave and you never want to be there. And what happens is, in these environments, when you're in an environment that you've adapted to, what happens a lot of times, your body starts to break down. And it could break down when you're a child. But what happens is that if, again, this became normalized, as you become an adult, you just expect the energy to be the same. So if you had a chaotic home when you were growing up, it might be hard for you to actually create a safe sanctuary environment because you're dealing with that trapped energy within your own personal space because it was normalized then and you never learned how to clear that out. And that adaptation then can cause the body to break down over time. It could, like I said, it could cause chronic fatigue, it could create brain fog, emotional numbness. I gave some other examples. And so part of the mission with 4Q Boundaries is that we're not interested in just coping with stuff. We're really wanting to learn what's going on within our personal space, so that way we can drain the swamp, set the energy for ourselves, so that way we can actually own the environment we want to be in. And that includes our physical environment. And this is what we're talking about with regards to tonight's tool, which is creating a sanctuary for yourself. So like I sort of mentioned, touched a little bit, is your home is a mirror of you. And so if you look around your house, what's the state of your place? How does it look? Some people, they have these perfect picture homes. You walk in and you're like, whoa, I could eat off the floors. This place is so clean. Other people, you're like going, oh my gosh, I don't think I can even walk into this house because I'm not sure what I'll catch. And those are two extremes. And there's a variety of homes and how the energy is set in those homes. And so the biggest takeaway is really realize that the reflection of your environment is also a reflection of what's going on within your own personal space. So if you're carrying a lot of clutter within you, guess what? You're going to see that around you. If there's a lot of chaos within you, guess what? It's hard to have a balanced environment around you when the chaos is within you. Because everything starts from within. Your comfort levels of how you experience yourself is all about what's going on inside of you. And then it is reflected. It's a mirror, and the mirror is the external environment. So by looking around, you actually can see, well, what's going on internally, because your external environment is reflecting it. So if you're wanting a peaceful environment, if you're wanting that sanctuary where you can come home and rest and digest and feel really comfortable, well, that's setting a tone. And that tone starts from within. And this is one of the reasons why we say, being proactive versus being passive. You get to decide how you want your environment to be. You get to decide how you want to experience yourself. And so you get to experience your external world as well as your internal world. And this is what 4Q Boundaries is all about. So tonight's tool, we call it glass image. And what we're doing is by using, that's glass image was last week. Tonight is actually the sanctuary tool. And the sanctuary tool is really, we're using the tools from the previous lessons, and now we're applying them to our external environment. So what we're doing is we're really trying to get ourselves out of, and I was going to say getting ourselves out of that trap that I've already talked about, getting out of the unconsciousness and starting to bring that awareness of your environment to you. And that could be, recognizing things just from an intuitive level. You're like, I walk into this room and it doesn't feel safe. And you may even walk into a room and you go, wow, I don't know what I'm experiencing when I walk into this room, because maybe you're numb to the room because you've been so sensitized, or you became so used to a certain environment that you don't know really how you feel about it. And the goal is to get rid of that unconsciousness, to get rid of the numbness, and to really start taking ownership of your environment. So that way it could be a space that's safe and joyful for you. And part of that is learning, and this is sort of when we're talking about these two spaces here, it's really learning about how to have your own space, which again goes back to the first 8 weeks. So this is sort of an advanced tool, because if you haven't learned the tools from the first 8 weeks, tonight's tool, I hate to tell you, may not make a lot of sense, but I'd say still listen to the audio and see if you're able to glean some information from it, because what we do here is experiential training. It's not information. I'm just giving you this information to sort of set the tone for what we're doing. And again, this is sort of the functional logic of why we set an outer sanctuary, or setting a sanctuary. And this goes back to the tools, the 8 tools that, 8 weeks we've been learning tools, is really to stop that absorption, where we start to learn how to have our own space. So that way we don't have to absorb all the energy when we walk into a room. It's also the aura trap. And basically what the aura trap is a lot of times people will expand their aura to as big as the room. And they do that because they're trying to control the energy of the room. But what happens is when they do that, their body starts to, their bodies, all four layers, starts to experience exhaustion and other things because they're, when your aura is as big as the room, then guess what? You are the room now. And now you're responsible for everything in there. That's exhausting in itself. And so what we're doing tonight, and this is what I invite you to do, is what we talked about in week 6, which is bringing your aura in about 12 to 18 inches while we're doing this exercise tonight. And really notice, what is it like to have your aura around your body and experience the room, and recognize that you're separate from the room because you are not your room. And then what we're going to do is we're also going to release tonight. We're going to clear the energy out of the room itself, and we're going to set the tone for the room tonight. So so that's what we'll be doing tonight. Now, there's one thing to be you want to be aware of, is that if you don't live by yourself, or if you're thinking about using these tools, and I'd recommend using these tools, let's say in your work environment or your school environment, if you're in an environment where there's other people, well, there's a dynamic in these environments, and this is the boss dynamic. And there may be somebody else in charge of how the room is set, how the energy is set. Or maybe you're in a cooperative where it's not just you, it's other people that are setting the energy. So if you go in and you're like going, I'm going to take charge of the room and I'm going to make it peaceful for everyone in the room. Really what's happening is you're trying to control the room, but you're also trying to control the people in the room. And this basically what happens is it creates competition. Because let's say somebody's having a bad day and they're trying to figure something out within their own personal space. So they come in and they're not in the greatest space. And let's say they go to their cubicle and they're not in the greatest space, and you're noticing their energy. It's like, oh, their energy is changing the room. So we need to fix them. We need to make them change. And the moment you do that, you're now telling them that what you think is more important than what they're dealing with. And that's direct competition. So instead of doing that, we actually use our tools. And one of the tools that I'm sort of highlighting tonight, which is using your glass image tool. Because what the glass image is all about is it's about neutrality. So when you see the energy in the room, it's like, oh, wow, okay, there's people over here. They're having an argument. That person's over there having looks like some drama with the family. You can be okay with that. Because guess what? You're setting the energy for the room for yourself, but you're also creating space for other people to have their own experiences. So tonight's sanctuary tool is about you taking ownership of the room for yourself, but it's not about controlling the room or controlling other people. And so what it is you're giving people space to really exist around you. Because really, unless you're living in a cave, if you live in a cave, you get to set the energy and control everything about that cave. But the moment you add another person to the environment you're in, well, guess what? Now you're joint occupants of the room, but not of your own personal space. And that's why we started with developing your awareness of your personal space, which is why we taught the tools from the last 8 weeks. So we're getting close to the audio itself. So the biggest thing that I always like to tell people is we have, it's awareness over mastery. These tools are designed to help you clear out the energy, recognize what's going on within you. But it's not about lecturing. We don't actually, I'm not interested in teaching you information besides what we just did, but the audios themselves are really for you to engage by you focusing on yourself. And so we have a 3-step process, which is really listen to an audio and then notice what you notice and then repeat the process. So listen to an audio, notice what you notice, and repeat. And the biggest thing I always like to tell people, don't be perfect. Um, this is all about recognizing energy and recognizing that, oh, wow, I'm feeling something. You may not know where you're feeling it. Maybe in one of the layers within you that we're talking about, those four bodies. But if you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. Just know that you have tools to let stuff go, and then you get to reset the energy. So you get to set the energy for how you want it versus trying to figure out what's happening, because who cares what's happening? Just change the energy. So how we're going to do this tonight is basically, if you are already sitting down, I always recommend, sit in a chair, feet flat on the floor, hands open, turn off your phone, things like that. If you want to lay down, go ahead, lay down. It doesn't really matter. The biggest thing is just, are you in an environment that you can be relaxed and focus on yourself? And tonight it's also focusing on the environment around you. And the biggest thing is, it's that intention. It's like, give yourself permission to really be here and be present. Take ownership of the time that you're listening to this audio. And while you're doing that is really drop everything else. If you're still thinking about work or you're thinking about other things, if you have to write them down on a piece of paper saying, okay, these are the things I have to do when I'm done with this, and then push that paper aside so that way you can focus on being in the present moment with this audio versus you're in your other projects because you are having a hard time separating. We're almost ready for the audio. So this is the outer sanctuary. It's going to be about 41 minutes long. Again, instructions are just notice what you notice. So listen to the audio, notice what you notice, and just keep repeating. If you go to sleep or if you start drifting, no big deal. That's part of the experience. It's like, this is what I experienced when I started doing this, as I drifted. Okay, well, guess what? The audio is still playing. So come on back. Notice what it's like to come back, as well as notice what it's like to drift. You're learning about yourself. This is experiential learning. And then the biggest thing is just, give yourself permission to, experience yourself. And my slide just disappeared, didn't it? Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. And it took us to where we didn't want to be. So we're going to move on to the audio presentation. So this is the audio that we'll be listening to tonight. It's broken down into 4 sections. The introduction, we're going to be going over all 8 lessons. It'll be about 16 minutes long. Then we're going to be using tools of releasing and refilling the energy of the room, which is grounding and releasing. And then we're going to be setting the boundaries of the room itself. And those 2 are about 7 minutes and 13 minutes each. And then we come to a conclusion. And then we'll come back to this slideshow, and then we'll conclude for the evening. So enjoy your meditation, and I will talk to you on the other side.
Let's begin. I'd like you to put your attention on your body and just notice, how do you feel? Notice that gravity is keeping you in that chair, and it continues to go down your grounding cord. But I'd like you just to really have your attention on your body at the moment. So as you're feeling the weight of your body, just start to scan how your body feels. Notice your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your pelvis, chest, your shoulders, your arms and hands, your neck, and your head. And just allow your whole body to release and let anything of discomfort, any thoughts that may be going on through your head, any emotions that you may be experiencing, just allow them to go down your grounding cord. Just allow yourself to be present in this moment in time. Notice your breath as you're grounding, as you're releasing. And notice the grounding cord itself. See what color you're using. Notice the distance of that grounding cord. It goes all the way down to the center of the planet and its attachment. And let's start to collect our energy up. So I'd like you to create a bubble in front of you. And just start to call your energy back from all the places that you've left it. Today, this past week, this past year, this whole lifetime. If there's any of your energy into the future, you can call your energy out of that. And just notice and watch your bubble grow. Notice the color, the feeling of it, the texture. This is you. This is your energy. And you can bring this bubble above your head and start to fill your body up, replenish yourself. Allow this energy to go all the way into every cell of your body, from head to toe, from shoulders to fingertips. And anywhere there's energy that's in your body that's not you, allow your grounding cord to release it. Be full of you. Enjoy the experience of giving yourself your energy. And I'd like you to say hello to your inner sanctuary. You can notice the fronts, the sides, the back, the top and the bottom of your inner sanctuary. Just be aware of that space. You can notice that grounding cord that you have right in the middle of your inner sanctuary. That grounding cord that goes all the way down to the center of the planet. And again, release any foreign energy that's sitting in your inner sanctuary. And set the tone for your inner sanctuary. What color would you like your inner sanctuary to be set at? It's your choice. And now I'd like you to put your attention on your feet. Notice the earth energy that's coming up through your feet, up through your calves, your knees, your thighs, and it goes all the way down your grounding cord. And just be conscious to that earth energy that's running its loop from the center of the planet up through your legs, down to your grounding cord, and back down to the earth. What color are you running right now? And I'd like you to be aware of that cosmic energy that's coming in, way out to the edge of the cosmos, coming right in to the top of your head, going down those two back channels, all the way down to your grounding cord, and releasing down your grounding cord. Be aware of that cosmic energy. Notice, how does it feel in your body as this energy is coming through you, helping you release anything that's not you. And there's that mixture that's happening where the earth and cosmic energy are meeting together. And I'd like you to allow a mixture of that earth and cosmic energy to come up through your front channels, and just be aware that this energy is running up through the front of your body, all the way up through the top of your head, out into your aura. Notice the energy as it goes across your shoulders, down your arms and out your hands. And again, just be aware of this energy flowing without even trying. Notice that you don't have to control this energy flow. You get to sit back and watch it. Notice the colors. And as this energy is flowing through you, you can be aware of your aura and ground your aura. Notice that it's attached to your grounding cord. So that way the earth and cosmic energy that's coming out of your hands and out of your head is circulating around your aura and picking up foreign stuff. And again, helping you release stuff that's not you out of your space, down that grounding. And you can put a boundary bubble in front of you if it's not already there. And again, notice, what color would you like your boundary bubble to be set at? Notice that it's grounded. has its own grounding cord that goes to the center of the planet. That boundary bubble is on the outside of your aura. So notice how far away is that boundary bubble from you. And if it's farther than 12 to 18 inches, just notice that you want to increase your grounding. Allow your aura to come around your body. And anything that's causing your aura to be larger than it should be, release it. Let it go. And just breathe. Again, none of this is with effort. This is just you becoming conscious to what is happening around you. And now I'd like you to create a bubble outside of you, outside of your space. See it as a color. Notice how big it is. And I'd like you to blow it up. Destroy that bubble. And now I'd like you to create another bubble. It could be the same color. It could be a different color. Your choice. It doesn't matter. But really see it. Notice it outside of your space. And blow that one up. And now I'd like you to create one more bubble, again, outside of you. Notice its color. And blow it up. And now I'd like you to create an image of your body and have that image of your body as glass. Notice that your body is glass. And notice, is it clear? Can you see the body? Or do you see a bunch of colors in there? And if you're noticing colors, I would like you just to create and destroy bubbles. Just allow the bubbles to collect up that energy that's in your glass body. And keep just creating and destroying bubbles. Have fun with it. Allow your body to be glass. Now what I'd like you to do is, I'd actually like you to open your eyes and check out the room that you're in. And notice the size of the room. Notice where the walls are at. Notice the ceiling. Notice the ground. Just be aware of how big this space is that you're sitting in right now. And I'd like you to close your eyes and I'd like you to create a grounding cord for this room. Right in the middle of the room, create a grounding cord that goes all the way down to the center of the planet. And ground the room. And as you're doing this, I'd like you just to notice, what are you experiencing as you're doing this? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Notice that gravity does the same thing for your body as it does for this room. Allow gravity to help clear out any foreign energy, any energy that may be in this room that you don't want. Allow this grounding cord to release that foreign energy. And now I'd like you to change the color of your room's grounding cord to a red. And notice, what is it like to have your room grounded at red? And now I'd like you to change your red grounding cord to a blue. Notice, what is it like to have your room grounded at blue? How does your body respond? Notice, how wide is your grounding cord? And now I'd like you to change your room's grounding cord to a green. And again, notice that these are different colors. Can you tell if there's a difference? Can you notice how your body responds to when the room is grounded differently? What do you experience physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, as you're changing the way you ground your room? And now I'd like you to change your room's grounding cord to a yellow. Notice, what is it like to have a yellow grounding cord? And now I'd like you to change your room's grounding cord to whatever color that you would like to use. Your choice. And now what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to imagine creating a big bubble above your room. And in this bubble, I would like you to imagine calling in neutral energy. Not your energy, but this is just a neutral vibration. And notice that energy above the room. It could be at any color that you'd like. Just watch it expand as you're calling this neutral energy into the bubble above the room. As you watch it expand and expand, I'd like you to allow this neutral energy to come into the room itself and allow it to clear out any energy that doesn't allow you to have this room as a sanctuary for you. And allow that foreign energy to release down the room's grounding cord. And just keep allowing this energy to come in to reset your room for you. And just notice that grounding cord as it's just releasing all the stuff that's not you. That's not in agreement to you being in this room. Or that's just a lot of distraction energy. You're clearing out this space so that way you're resetting the tone. And now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to create a boundary bubble for the room. And I'd like you to create 4 of them. If you have 4 walls, however many walls you have, I'd like you to create boundary bubbles for each of these walls. And notice the boundary bubbles have their own grounding cord. And have these boundary bubbles outside the room itself. Just like outside of your aura. These boundary bubbles are here for the room. They're helping establish a space of sanctuary for you to be in this room. And so I'd like you to be aware of the room itself. Notice the room's grounding. Notice that you have those 4 boundary bubbles established. And I'd like you to change the boundary bubbles colors to a red. And just notice what is it like to have the boundary bubbles set at red. And again, just be aware of you. How do you respond to having the room's boundary bubbles set at these colors? And from a red boundary bubble color, I'd like you to change the room's boundary bubble to a blue. Change all 4 of them. And just notice that this room that you're in has definition. The boundary bubbles are helping create it. Also, I'd like you to be aware of your boundary bubbles as you're doing this. Notice that is your aura right around you? Or did you expand your aura as big as the room to create these boundary bubbles? And if you did, bring your aura back in around you. Allow yourself to have your own space within the room that you're in. You are not the room. And now I'd like you to change those boundary bubbles from a blue to a green color. And again, just notice, how do you respond? And now I'd like you to change those boundary bubbles from a green to a yellow. And again, just be aware of, as you change the boundary bubbles around you, what happens with you, what happens to your awareness. And now I'd like you to change those boundary bubbles to whatever color you'd like. Your choice for the room's boundary bubbles. And now I'd like you to notice the center of the room again, and notice that grounding cord. Notice that you now have this space defined in a different way. You have a grounding cord that's releasing. You have boundary bubbles set up in place to recognize and acknowledge the boundary of your sanctuary. You're welcome to bring in energy to clear out this room at any time that you'd like. And now we're going to set the tone for the room itself. This is your sanctuary. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to create a bubble in the middle of the room, right above that grounding cord. And I'd like you to attach that bubble to the grounding cord itself. And notice at the moment, it's just a clear bubble. And now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to allow this clear bubble to change to a red color. And within this red vibration, notice that the color itself is set at a sanctuary for you. And this tone of this red permeates throughout the room itself, filling up everything within your boundary bubble at this red color. And the color of this red is all about you owning a sanctuary for your body, for you to be at rest, at peace, to replenish yourself. And if there's any energy in this room, allow it to go down the grounding. Release. Let the room reset at your sanctuary. And again, notice, how does your body respond? How does your space respond to you having a room set at your sanctuary? And now I'd like you to change the sanctuary color from a red to a blue. And again, notice the change in the room. The whole room starts to change to a blue color. It's still your sanctuary, but it's just at a different vibration. Notice, how does your body respond to having a blue color sanctuary? What happens to your space? Notice your grounding. And now I'd like you to change your sanctuary's blue color to a green. And again, allow the whole room to be filled with this green vibration. Notice that bubble in the center of the room as you're setting the tone, and the rest of the room is just being filled and saturated. This room is all yours. It's your sanctuary. And now I'd like you to change the room's sanctuary color from a green to a yellow. And again, watch the transition happen and notice as you change the color of that bubble in the middle of the room, the whole room starts to change to a yellow. Again, your body's not making the change happen. You're making it happen because you see it, you say it, this is what you want. And again, notice how your body responds. What do you notice physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, as you're sitting in your sanctuary set at a yellow color? And now I'd like you to change the room's color to whatever sanctuary color you would like to have. Notice that color. Notice as it radiates throughout the room. Notice you have your boundary bubbles helping define this space. And notice that your room has a grounding cord to help release any foreign energy that may be in this room that doesn't want you to have this sanctuary. And if stuff gets in this room, allow the tools to work. Bring in energy, neutral energy, just to clear out, sort of like a shower. Clear out all the dirt, clear out all the junk. There may be pockets within the room that you're in that maybe have resistance to change. That's okay. It's about the awareness. It's about resetting a tone over time, giving yourself permission to actually have a sanctuary for your body to be in, to be at rest without effort. Well, congratulations. Yay! You now know how to create a sanctuary for yourself. This is an awesome tool. This is something that you can actually do anywhere. Um, One of the nice things about creating a sanctuary for yourself, especially before you start a meditation, is that by being conscious to what's happening in the room, sometimes you get distractors because there's stuff in the room that maybe from a previous conversation or um, maybe you're in your office or maybe you've been studying for a class and all your attention goes into these objects that have nothing to do with you wanting to meditate. So notice it's like, oh, is this room set at a sanctuary for me to do what I want to do right now? And so this is a great way to help clear out the energy and reset it. So that way the room is set for whatever you want to do at this moment in time. You can also play with this concept and you can actually own your house or your apartment. You can own bigger structures. One of the things that I like to do too is that if you are doing this in a environment where other people are coming in, is also create a postulate that other people, when they come into this sanctuary space that you're creating, is that they have permission to be in there and that it's a safe environment for not just you, but also for everybody that comes in. So you're allowing other people to come into your sanctuary. Because if you're at work and you're trying to create a sanctuary, but you're telling everybody to stay out, that may not work well. You know, if you're at school and you're doing the same thing, you're in a classroom and you're like going, okay, this is my sanctuary, and you're saying nobody else should be in here, that creates conflict. And so it makes it impossible to have. So it's all about how do you set the postulate? How do you set the tone for your sanctuary? Can you allow other people to be around you? And this is where it's a great thing to recognize that, oh, I can have the room as a sanctuary, but I can also have my own space. Because remember, the room, you're setting a tone. Your space is not the room. You are not the room. You're never the room. Your space is your aura and inwards. So recognize, notice when you start to control things, you're trying to control a room, it's because maybe your aura is too big. Bring your aura in around tight, tight around you, and then do this. Flush the energy out, do the things we just did, and play. Have fun with this. Notice how other people respond. It's a great tool to create a sanctuary for yourself and see how other people respond to it. So have fun this week. Enjoy using this tool. I'd love to hear your comments. So please email me if you'd like to share what you've experienced. And I will talk to you next week. Take care.
Well, welcome back. So, what'd you notice? Um, the conclusion said it all. And there's a reason for that. That's actually part of the 4Q Boundaries membership. This is actually part of the training. We have two other segments to this training that we don't offer on YouTube. That's actually a membership only portion to build and strengthen your tools. but the conclusion itself sort of goes into it all. It's like, what'd you notice? How do you experience yourself? What'd you notice when you're doing this? So, um, is the room feeling lighter to you as you sort of come out of this meditation itself? I notice for myself is, especially when the rooms are really intense, I'll just go unconscious. And even to this day, sometimes things will just get so intense as I'll listen to this audio, and the next I'm like, oh wow, the audio is almost done. What went on? And then all that is just reflecting two things. One, there's a lot of energy in my space with regards to the room, and there's also energy in the room itself, which is again the reason why we have that three-step process. Listen to the audio, notice what you notice, and repeat. That repeat is so important because it's really teaching you that life happens all the time and we're porous. And so we're constantly clearing things out because we're resetting the tone for this moment in time. Because if you reset the tone for 5 years ago, well, guess what? You're not the same person as you were 5 years ago. And so this is sort of one of those things where you're constantly bringing your attention back to the present moment, because that's the only thing that really exists is the present moment itself. And that's what we're doing here. So make this a habit. You have right now 9 audios on YouTube on our live section, 4Q Boundaries Live, that you can listen to these audios. If you want to listen to the whole presentation, you can, but if you just want to go right to this segment, I've been going in and putting bookmarks in the YouTube videos, so that way it's easy for you to jump right to the training section. And so that way you can start listening to the audio. So if you want to listen to the full presentation, I would love it. But if you just want to listen to the meditation itself, just go to it, listen to it. You use the tools. That's what it's there for. And you know what? This is all about really resetting your own space. So it's just, it's about grounding yourself and releasing, using those tools to bring your energy back into the present moment and really empowering yourself. But now, let you know, I would love for you to also be a 4Q Boundary member. We have a full membership. We have training. We have other tools. We'll be actually talking about that. Next week is the last week of our tools. We'll have one more tool, and it's really about creating miracles. It's about goal setting. So that's next week. But then we're gonna be having some fun week 11, 12, and then we're going to be repeating the tools, but we're going to be focused on the emotional body. So we'll be doing that. We'll start working paying attention to the emotional body using these tools in 3 weeks from now. So, but right now is the only thing that matters is the present moment. So, but what I'd love for you to do is become a member of 4Q Boundaries. Go to 4qboundaries.com and click on the link. I think membership's $25 a month. I mean, shoot, nowadays that's, you go to a coffee shop, you buy a latte and then some type of snack, and that's almost $25. So, my goal is to keep the prices, minimal. This is not about you having to think whether or not you can afford the membership. It's just about paying for the ability to keep the membership and everything alive. And your membership does help with that. So would always love your support. Also help share the tools with other people. By you liking the video, sharing the video, and by subscribing, you're actually helping support 4Q Boundaries. And it's this vision that I have wouldn't it be amazing to see more people having their space, using tools? What would it be like to actually have communication with other people that know about boundaries? I personally think that would be amazing, which is one of the reasons why I'm sharing this on YouTube Live, is I just want people to have their space. Right now is a crazy time on the planet, and the more people that have their space, just the healthier environment it'll be for everybody. So, and here's our final quote. So, by consciously creating a harmonious outer sanctuary Through release and reset, you reflect and amplify your own inner peace. Have a fabulous evening, and I will see you next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a great evening, or morning, or afternoon, whenever you're seeing this video. Take care.